Alright, it is 10:04 a.m. and I haven't traded anything, but I did have an attempted buy with IGEX at 10:02, which was just 2 minutes ago, right here, 10:02. 40,000 shares at 54. Maybe it can do it, but I don't know. This one just feels iffy, but it can totally make a move towards VWAP, and that would be pretty impressive. And I was just watching it over a longer period of time, and I noticed that, it was on a gap up. It opened at 75. The previous close was 63, but, it still continued to drop more than 10% from there. There just isn't really any clean setups. It also has a lot of volume, which was interesting. So I thought maybe it could be exaggerated that maybe somebody had a lot of shares to sell and it brought it down a lot more than it might have normally have been. So maybe that would give it more room for it to uptrend. And PACB could be like, I don't know. I was watching it a little. It could have like a dip under VWAP and then it got here. But I just don't like how low the volume is and this thing trades with a pretty wide spread. There's nothing I'm interested in with NWBO. That's why XX is uptrending. This one did a dip towards VWAP, but I don't like this stock very much in general because of how jumpy it can be. And the other one I'm looking at, I think the one I like the most out of all of them is RMSL. This one's been uptrending very nicely over a longer period of time, and this thing can totally try to be a morning panic bounce play setup in the future. I've traded this before, and right now it did get to the highs and wasn't able to get to the 4 cent level. There were a lot of sellers at the ask, but I'll be interested in this one if it can do the thing where it can drop significantly here under VWAP and then it kind of consolidates and build itself back up. I'd like to be a part of that momentum, but as of right now, I want to see what IGEX does over a longer period of time, and I'll be looking at RMSL if that setup, starts to happen. It doesn't have to, but if it does, I would like to be interested in it. Okay, it is 11:52 p.m. and I am here to call it off. Overall, I am up just $1, and that was basically a scratch trading RMSL. I was talking about how it was trading this range here, and I would have been interested in it if it were to have dropped under VWAP, but it actually continued the uptrend, and this has been a really bullish pattern. When you see something like a head and shoulders that doesn't play out and it fails, and it does a nice breakout instead, and what happened was is that it started the uptrend and I wasn't too interested in buying it, but what ultimately got me in the setup was the fact that at this point, I think somewhere right here at 398, a very large 800,000 shares bidder showed up at the bid, and that made it look super bullish and people were hitting the ask. It looked like it was going to uptrend. There was a big 500,000 share seller at 4 and it was able to be taken out. I was in at 1018 at 399, so at 1018 was right here at 399. I was in it right here, just a bit early because it was looking like it was playing out, but it still didn't break the 4 cent level, and there was always a possibility that maybe it just uptrends here and it starts selling off hard and it starts to really fail. And I had a bit of a wide risk level, but I still traded according to a $20 risk level, which I think is good. But what I think was bad was the way I sold. Even though the price action looked super sketchy, it still got the 40, looks like this 413 level. And I did sell 2 minutes later, 1020 at 4, which was right here, 1020 at 4. And I did let it uptrend a little, but I just hated how we broke this 4 cent level. It just kind of shot up there, and it was just way too bad. I still have a screenshot of it, and I just didn't like how I got in the setup, right? This was at 1021, so a minute after I sold, and this was very common price action for what it was. It was just constant red prints, a lot of selling, and then it would make a breakthrough. So I really didn't like that, and at the time the level 2 wasn't looking very nice for the bid. But you can see here a minute later there was a 300k bidder at 401, which was definitely supporting it and allowing it to have a better opportunity to move towards the upside, which it did do. It didn't spike up too massively. I think, maybe this was like a 4% move max, if not like a 3% move. It didn't really do that much of an uptrend, but I would have felt a lot better if I sold half of my position at 10.20 when it was looking sketchy and it could have failed. So that if it were to have failed and then it breaks under this breakout level, then at least I'm going to be cutting my trade with half a position size and I won't lose that much, or I'm just less likely going to lose as much because of that than for me to have sold everything, because even though it didn't really uptrend that much, it would have just given me better, I guess just better trading overall, and probability to make more, because if this thing were to have broken this 4 level and then continue to move much higher, maybe in the 43s or the 44s, I would have been pretty salty and I would have missed out on a really nice move. So I think in the future, if I'm not cutting a setup for like losses at my risk level, I think I need to just try to make it a rule to sell in two pieces, because I think that can help me be that much more profitable and patient too. If it's not looking as ideal, I can cut the trade in that, only half of my position is out. So if it continues to work, that'll be great and I'll be more profitable. But if it fails, then at least I don't have my full sized position and I'm, gonna take an L. So I think that's what I'm gonna have to do. It did downtrend after that. I didn't really try to break out the level later. It wasn't as nice looking. Although I did try here, it just didn't have that nice consistency and volume that it had right here in the morning. This one continued to sell off, and I never saw a point where it looked like it was trying to uptrend. I think I might have tried to buy at some point. Yeah, that was back at 10.02 that I mentioned previously, but that was really about it. This one just sold off pretty massively. So did this one, although this one has less volume. Yeah, that was really about it. I'm happy there was an opportunity there with RMSL. Yeah, I don't mind missing this because this was later in the day. This dip towards VWAP was pretty nice for what it was. That's it for today. I think I'm going to stick to a $20 risk level until I feel like I'm trading better and selling better. But, I'm happy that I'm trading twice the amount of, shares overall in terms of dollar risk level, because not too long ago I was still trading a $10 risk level. So now, I'm in theory trading twice as much shares or dollar volume, and I'm not, losing. I'm still being profitable, but I think I'll stick to $20 until I feel like I did a really good week and, execution. That's all I have for today.